Hello, friends. Welcome to Akulmach Live, and my name is CK. Today, we are discussing about the tremendous growth that India is showing. In fact, I was watching through some of the statistics, and I was surprised to see that India is the country which is showing the world highest GDP, almost 6.8% in this quarter. The growth has been tremendous. Uh, while the growth is tremendous, I think most of the India's growth is attributed to the production which is being demonstrated by the Indian business people and entrepreneurs. However, sustainability, climate change is also becoming a very big reality because we can actually have a growth, but then we have to also be very careful about the climate and sustainability goals. Therefore, India is sitting at the right place, right point in time when they can pioneer the sustainable growth along with the climate, all the climate adherence to climate laws and making sure that the climate is not affected. So, we are discussing about the five greatest point that India could do going forward in next decade in order to basically become the leader in sustainable growth. The whole object is to talk about how India can achieve sustainability at the same time also maintain the high trajectory of growth. All right, the first point that I want to bring in front of you is leveraging the renewable energy. Well, India is a very large country. It is also sitting in a very unique place where there is a lot of sun. And if you look at the boundary of India, the Indian subcontinent or India as a country, one side is Himalayas. So that is a natural boundary that India has, and therefore the land boundary of India is not of a great significance because there is one side almost like 90% is taken over by the mountains, and they are forming the natural barrier or natural boundary. Well, Himalaya also is also a place where a lot of rivers originate and which power the uh, especially the North India, the Ganges plains, also in Pakistan, Bangladesh, and in India. So most of the river, in fact, every river, every big river is originating in Himalayas. There are huge glaciers, and these mountains are still growing. So apart from these facts, we have to look at the conservation of water. And because of this river bed, the basin that the North India, starting from Pakistan in the west, going all the way to the East India, huge area as big as Europe, is completely fertilized by these river systems. All right, so we have to make sure that the water is not wasted, water is conserved. The temperature in the northern side of India is also maintained. The trees are cultivated, forests are protected, all kinds of things which are happening. But India being a very large country, it has a longer shoreline than the land border. The shoreline is tremendous, and Indian Ocean is the name of the ocean, which is the third largest ocean on planet Earth, is named after India because the Indian Ocean influence by India is also tremendous. So on the coastal region, there are a lot of monsoon waves which originates and then rainwater in the Indian subcontinent. So there are a lot of river systems which are actually also exist in India, which are not originating from Himalayas. So again, so these are the rich natural resources that we have. And when we talk about sustainability, India is also very populous country. One of the world highest concentration of humans are found in some of these pockets which exist in India. So while India has almost 20% of the population, one sixth of the population living in this country, the water that we have today is only 2%. I mean, I'm talking about fresh water. Although we have huge coastline, but then fresh water which actually comes from the monsoon rain and the Himalaya glacier melting, etc. So as a country, as a nation, we have to look at how we can actually protect the environment. And when we talk about protection of environment, we have to talk about not burning the coal, making sure that the energy production because 1/6 of the population of the world lives in only one country. So there is going to be a huge energy requirement also. So we can use hydropower, but then there is a limit to how much you can generate in terms of hydropower. There is always a downside of building the dams, but building dams is also important. We have to plan building a lot of dam, otherwise the fresh water will actually go waste into the ocean. At the same time, we have to look at the renewable energy. So things like solar energy, things like wind energy, which does not cause any harmful effect on the environment. Yet these are the methods by which we are capable to generate or at least 20 to 30% of the energy. However, India has given a very stiff target in the Davos business meet. The Indian Prime Minister has already committed that by 2075, India will not be generating any carbon. Now, when we as a country go around and say that, okay, these are the stiff targets that we follow, it eventually becomes the responsibility of every Indian citizen, every business house to become sustainable, to start doing their production and business, make sure that all their processes are sustainable in nature. Therefore, leveraging renewable energy is an important aspect of sustainability because energy is required for all kinds of production, supply chain, etc. So India now needs to buckle up and look at how they can migrate from the carbon-based emission system or carbon-based energy generation to a solar power or a wind turbine or a use some other method, like for example ocean generators to produce energy, electricity. Also at the same time transfer their vehicles from internal combustion engine to electric engines, and also the freight movement. All of these things must get transferred to electric based systems. All of this electricity can come from renewable energy sources. So a lot of work is being done in this arena. Government is also doing walk the talk. They have taken a very stiff target to convert all public infrastructure like railways, freight movement, trucking, etc., to transfer immediately on the electric line system. And India being a very highly populous and vast country, this will take time. So this is going on right now. However, India can become an example by leveraging the renewable energy, because there are a lot of heat, there is a lot of sun, there is a huge coastline, there is a lot of wind, of course. So all of these can be harnessed by India. So these are certain things which may be very important for India in the long run to become sustainable and be responsible for maintaining your environment. All right, let's move on to the next point, and that is the related to agriculture. Agriculture, as I mentioned already, it's one of the major industry in India. Almost 16% of the GDP comes from the agriculture segment, especially when the land is so fertile, and every season, every year, the flood plains actually get new nourishment from the mountains and different kinds of sources brought in by the rivers. Therefore, the land here is very, very fertile. However, we must look at how we can conserve water. Don't waste too much of water in agriculture. Also, yield has to be increased. And at the same time, we must look at if there are drip irrigation methodology that can be used in agriculture, growth of our food. India is also not only a huge producer of vegetable items, also a big exporter of some of these items. The Indian food products are very popular and in great demand globally. So we have to always look at how we can sustain the agriculture. There has to be some sort of research done, some sort of mechanization, some sort of use of technology, satellite mapping, soil sampling. what equipments are required at what place, in what quantity. We should not be giving extra minerals to the plant which are not needed, because if you provide extra, plants don't take them, they just go waste. So sustainability is basically you have to come out with some sort of a data plan, some sort of dashboard for farmers who can look at it and then follow the steps provided by all kinds of study, remote sensing, satellite, uh, using IoT probes in the soil. All of this can be provided absolutely free to the farmers, so that then farmers just need to follow the advices given by the system from a dashboard. They can look at it in the mobile devices and then follow that and accordingly provide water, minerals, urea, etc. So time has come where we cannot depend on what minerals are being brought by the river system. We have to start looking where and how we can make the agriculture much more advanced and make it sustainable. So this is an important point when it comes to pioneering the sustainable agriculture. Let's look at the next point, and that is the green finance. In this area, most of the activity resides with the government of India, because government of India is now coming out with the policy framework. Now, as per the policies, they must give more protection to the companies which are investing in the environment friendly technology, or probably talking about the green technologies. They are not polluting, so there has to be some incentive for such companies. So that is what the green finance is all about, where the green finance system is basically talking about the companies which are investing, and therefore the financing must happen from the bank into those sustainable projects. So things like for example, agriculture is a very good example. There could be other examples like development of technology, development of online systems, etc. All of this is part of the green finance, which can be taken up by the government, and I think this is where the next step of reforms are required. Green finance is something new. However, the banks do not look at the projects differently. So banks have to be empowered. They have to be cognizant of the fact that there are some companies which are actually investing deliberately in sustainable projects, and right now the banking system do not support it. But I think if the banks start looking at these with the green finance in mind, they will actually not only support the companies, but they will also start providing a lot of help to companies who are actively investing in the green application, green systems. So number 4 is the transformative technology. Transformative technologies are the technologies like IoT, Internet of Things, like AI. These are the technologies which will transform the entire landscape drastically, and will create new job opportunities. Will definitely create areas which are will propel Indian economy into a different era altogether, in defense, etc. So there are huge opportunities. In fact, we talk about on our channel about the AI. A lot of inspirational conversation we do on this channel. However, so all of these new technologies are part of the transformative area, and there's a lot of work already going on in the area of AI and IoT. Next year will be very, very exciting, especially 2025 starting, where all of these technologies, which hard work people have done last year and this year, will start showing results. And AI is going to come up in a very, very big way, transforming the businesses. So India can then look at these new gen applications very, very seriously. In fact, every citizen must look at it, gather more knowledge, and start embracing the transformation when it comes to technology. And the last point on the agenda is the collaborative effort. This is the most important. This is where the government of India comes here, where they have to look at the public-private partnership. all of these projects will not succeed. I mean, you can't say it's the responsibility of the government, it is the responsibility of a private company. It has to be collaboration between the public and private. Some initiatives have already been taken. For example, there is an initiative by Government of India which talks about the production based incentives. So if you are a production house, there are incentives, tax incentives for you if you are able to adhere to your set targets. So the way it works is that you actually say that I have a production unit, but then I will do this kind of production, and you give commitment. And if you succeed and exceed those commitments, the government will give you tax bracket, tax relief, which is entirely based on your production. So the PLI scheme, it is known as production linked incentive, which is working very well for past 2 years. However, this is only related to production. So what about the other areas? What about services? So I think the Government of India must start thinking of providing some sort of relief to the services segment, because India is a very big hub of services globally. Nearly 40% of the economy of India is based on services. I mean, the $3 trillion economy, 40% of that based on services. You can imagine how big is it? It's almost equal to half of the world, GDP. Not talking about the top countries, but if you look at out of 205 countries, almost 50% of the GDP will not be equal to the entire services segment in India. The Government of India must look at what more they can do collaboratively to promote public and private partnership, not only in production, but in all walks of life. I think this is where the gap is. There are two gaps that I mentioned today. One is the green finance, and other is the creating more deeper, private and public partnerships, so that the India as a nation can then become sort of an example in front of the world, where India can say that, look, I have made these changes, and with sustainability, India is able to show growth to the rest of the world. So friends, this is an important subject. It is concerning India, and India is having almost 1/6 of the population of the world. Very, very important country. Whatever happens in India will definitely affect the world. So I'd like to know what you feel about this. It is not something that we have to do as Indian, but it is basically for the world. So I invite all the global community also to throw their point of view as well. And I look forward to your comments. And thanks for watching me live. Catch you again in the next one.